Now, Breath of the Wild is a strange Zelda game in so many ways. Just think about all the titles that came before. We never saw stuff like weird sci-fi Sheikah technology in any of the other games. That was completely new and kind of out of nowhere. Aside from that, the world is completely open now and you can defeat the final boss right away. So in a lot of ways it's different. And because of that, I want to talk about one of the new types of enemies that is certainly the strangest out of all. The Guardians. And while some of you might think there are only 1 or 2 types, there are a total of 8. However, which one is the strongest out of all? Which one is best? Well, let's find out. And the answer might surprise you. Now to start off, I will tell you all about the different types of Guardians really quick. We all need to get an idea of what they can and can't do after all. Now first off, we have the Decayed Guardian, which is a normal Guardian Stalker that has lost its ability to move. Usually they are found buried in the ground and wake up when you get close. At that point, they will light up and aim their lasers straight at you. And after a while, they shoot, just like the normal version. But sometimes they fire several lasers in rapid succession, which can certainly be surprising. Overall, this version is just a damaged, beat up, broken piece of garbage, but still, it can be very dangerous. Now, aside from this one, there's also another that is similar in a lot of ways. This one is also stuck in the ground, but this time it is completely different, because it's on purpose. This one is basically a defensive turret to keep enemies out of certain fortifications. You mostly find them around Hyrule Castle. Clearly, both of these aren't too complex. But luckily enough, there are also types that can actually move around, surprisingly enough. For example, the Guardian Stalker, that actually has some sort of spider legs allowing it to walk around, which looks a bit freaky at times. But thanks to this, they are really fast, and they can still shoot their laser from their freaking eyeball while they are moving around. So these are a lot stronger because they have way more options compared to the turret and decayed version. However, they can do more than just walk around, you silly boy or girl, because there's also one called the Skywatcher. These ones actually fly around, all while shooting lasers at you just like the normal Guardians. And as you can imagine, these are very dangerous. The best you can do is run away from them or shoot an arrow into its eye, because that will stun them temporarily. And this actually works on all of the Guardian types. However, there's one other type out there that does stuff very differently compared to all the previous types I talked about. The Guardian Scout, which are smaller variants of Guardian Stalkers that can be found within ancient shrines and divine beasts. They come in 4 different forms, and depending on their form, they can be equipped with different Sheikah tech weapons. So these ones use swords, axes, spears, and shields, which makes them a good challenge for a person like Link. That's probably why they were made. However, they certainly haven't lost their laser eye ability, but these usually use their laser to rapidly burn the ground surrounding them. And they can also shoot small bursts of lasers, like some sort of gun. They are like laser bullets almost. And the bigger ones out there have a lot of different tricks. And when they're near death, they will charge a laser attack that's incredibly powerful, and it cannot be interrupted. Now, we've all fought this type of Guardian, and usually they offer a very fun challenge. But they do lack certain things. Usually they aren't as fast as the normal versions, and their laser attack isn't as good as the bigger version. Alright, now we will start comparing them all in order to find out which one would rule in the broken world of Hyrule. Now, if you're honest, then you just know that the bigger Guardians have a huge advantage over all the others. Usually they can move around a lot faster than all the others, which already makes them better. Aside from that, they can also deal more damage with their attacks. The lasers they shoot are huge after all. And last but not least, they have a lot more health than all the others. Well, except for the last version of the Guardian Scout. They have a whopping 3000 health, while the normal Guardian Stalkers that you find in the open world only have 1500. But regardless of that, we want to find the strongest out of all of them. And personally, I think there is only one. the Guardian Skywatcher. This is the Guardian that flies around, and we see them a lot near Hyrule Castle, for example. Now there's one simple reason why this one would win in a Guardian Battle Royale of sorts. They can fly, and you might think that's not everything, but when fighting Guardians, it is, to be honest. They can shoot lasers from above, which makes it harder to dodge them. They can attack you from almost anywhere after all. Aside from that, attacking this flying behemoth is very hard. It's high up in the sky after all, which makes hitting it really difficult. For example, a Guardian Stalker wants to shoot at it with his big, strong laser, but in the end, he keeps missing and missing and missing. And there's a reason for that. A projectile attack like that doesn't reach its target instantly. It will take a short while, and during that time, the Skywatcher can move out of the way, which is something it does often in the games. And at that point, it can shoot back. And while the Guardian on the ground can do the same, they can't always move everywhere. But in the sky, that's not a problem. This is what makes them so good. They can hunt you down to the ends of the earth, they are hard to hit, and can move fast without being stopped by anything. And so because of all of that, I think this type is the strongest out of all seen in Breath of the Wild.
But Wily, this is unfair. You can't compare an enemy that flies to one that walks around on the ground.
I mean, yeah, I guess. You know what? Let's also find out which ground-based Guardian is the strongest. Now obviously, versions like the Decayed and Turret Guardians fall off immediately. They are stuck in place, which is a huge disadvantage. In the end, it really comes down to two types, the Scout and Stalker. The two types that players fear the most, and rightfully so. Both of them are incredibly powerful and can be tricky to take out. And now we get to the hard part. Which one is stronger? And while some of you might think that's the easiest answer in the world, it really isn't. Now we all know the one weakness of a normal Guardian Stalker, its legs. If you start cutting those off, you limit its ability to move. And it will also stun him for a short while when you get rid of one of its tentacle leggy things, which is a nice bonus. It allows you to really hack away at them very fast. Normally only Link can really do this effectively, but he might not be the only one that can pull it off. Because remember, the Guardian Scouts usually have melee weapons as well, which would allow them to get rid of those tentacle legs. If they could pull this off, then I think a level 4 version of this enemy could certainly kill a Stalker. However, now comes the big question. Can it even do something like that without horribly failing? Can this type of Guardian even pull this off? Well, maybe. There are two problems when it comes to this, and it's quite hard to solve these, to be honest. First, the Guardian Scouts are really slow when attacking with their melee weapon. And this is something we have all seen. When you enter one of those tests of strength shrines, you quickly notice one thing. The Scout can run fast, but his movements are stiff. He does everything very slow and one by one. For example, he does a cut from left to right, he turns his blade by rotating his wrist, and then he cuts from right to left. And he does all of this very slowly. An attack like that would take him like 3 or 4 seconds, which is long because Link does it in less than 2 seconds. This is already a problem. When you attack the legs of a Guardian Stalker, you want to be as fast as humanly possible. Obviously, that freaking machine doesn't want his legs to be cut off, and so it will try to save itself when you do it. So acting fast is a smart idea. When you're in the flow, you can get all of them in one go. Ooh, rhyming bonus. But our Guardian Scout friend will probably have a very hard time pulling this off. And that's just the first problem. The second issue is that the big Robo Boys are fast. Incredibly fast. A lot faster than any of the smaller versions. It can even keep up with a horse when Link is riding on it. That already gives us an idea of how fast it really is. And this is a problem for our little Scout because the Stalker type always tries to maintain distance between him and this target. And so cutting his legs off is a difficult task even for us players. And so because of that, I think the Guardian Scout won't stand a chance against them. Well, I don't see it happen at least. Their enemy is just too fast, and they are way too slow when it comes to movement and attacks. So I think the big Guardian will just run away from it while shooting lasers, and after doing this a number of times, the Scout will probably die. Now in the end, there are two clear winners when it comes to all of the Guardian types. And their designs are also the most simple out of all of them. The classic Guardian and the flying version. Their movement speed, health, and powerful laser attacks make them incredibly strong, and no other Guardian could ever rival them. But if you disagree with me somehow, be sure to let me know down below in the comments. I would love to hear your side. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the like button. It really helps me a lot. Literally, YouTube cares the most about the darn like button, so help out, please. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and click the bell button and stuff. And I love you all.